When it comes to disability insurance, we are in the middle of a perfect storm. This perfect storm has created an incredible opportunity. When you consider that there are unlimited amount of prospects, there is virtually no competition. There are great products available and the commissions are at an all-time high. There has never been a better time for you to be selling disability insurance. The I Love DI podcast is dedicated to sharing ideas, strategies, and techniques for you to use to grow your disability insurance sales and create an incredibly lucrative practice. To help you leverage these opportunities, here is your host, Chris Carlson.
Welcome to episode number 70 of the I Love DI podcast. My guest today is Bill Levinson. Bill is managing partner for Levinson and Associates, a national insurance marketing organization located in Coral Springs, Florida. He's a longtime veteran of the brokerage industry and is passionate about how training and technology are critical to success for producers at all levels. Bill shares some great insights into not only what's happening right now in the brokerage industry, but he also shares what he believes are the keys to success in the future. Hey, Bill, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Chris. I appreciate this opportunity.
Hey, Bill, I'm really excited about some of the things we're going to talk about. But before we jump into those things, can you give us a brief background of Bill Levinson?
Yes. So just real quick, we'll back up a little bit. So Kerry Levinson, my father, started our agency, Levinson and Associates, back in 1972. And then I was actually born in 75, so I've literally grew up with life insurance as a second language, if you will. And you fast forward, so today I'm 42 years old, and just over 20 years ago. So 22 years ago exactly, I came into the life insurance business with Kerry as my partner and as my father. And long story short, I started selling primarily, and Kerry was a wholesaler, and I would sell insurance to kind of learn the ropes. And I was big with telemarketing. I literally started with a stack of papers back then. We weren't real big with computers, so I had a stack of papers that had every agent licensed in the state of Florida, and I'd have 3 different color highlighters, meaning, green was the agent either passed on or they're in another business. Yellow was they were interested in whatever I had to sell. And then, pink was take them off the list, maybe circle back at a later time. So that's kind of how I started and learned the ropes of life insurance selling and marketing. And then, obviously, as time went on, we were big with marketing using the phone and a headset and mailers. And little by little, we started with a couple hundred agents. At that time, I stopped selling on a retail level and focused 100% on marketing and wholesaling. So we started with a couple hundred agents, and little by little, fast forward to today, we have just under 15,000 agents in every city in the country now. So we can dive in a little bit later, but that's the 1,000-foot overview, if you will.
That's awesome. And I like the old school type of approach. So we've gotten so high tech, if you will. I mean, the phone still works, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's go a little bit deeper into Levinson Associates. Kind of give us an overview of what Levinson Associates is, what marketplaces, they target, and what products they promote.
We look at ourselves as kind of like a one-stop shop for the typical insurance agent. Okay, we have all products covered, different parts of the industry. The only thing we don't touch on is securities, variable products, and health insurance products. So other than that, we have pretty much everything. And the way that we market ourselves to our field force is we say, hey, if it's a universal life that you're focused on, if it's disability, if it's IUL, if it's indexed annuities, if it's accident insurance, whatever the case is, we want to have the best product for that specific client or that particular agent's sale, or maybe if their client's interested in living benefit products, whatever the case is, we market ourselves and we tell our agents that we go out there and hand pick the absolute best product for that part of the industry. Okay, and with that said, we also don't want to have a Burger King and McDonald's on the same corner. So we want to make sure that every product that we have and every carrier that we represent has a certain niche in the space, right? So we think that's very important. We also want to make sure we don't just have 300 carriers and be a typical brokerage IMO. We want to be a big fish, and we want to be important to those carriers. And going back to that old relationship is everything. And we want to make sure if we need a favor or we need marketing dollars for an agent's meeting, whatever the case is, that we have a big presence with that carrier. So yes, we have the best product for every solution. But with that said, we don't have carriers and products just for the sake of having a carrier and product. We also feel that it's our job and duty to provide the best, say, illustrations, product support, technology to all of our agents when they call in for whatever need it is. And we also stress we built a complete platform. I think this is important. I know I'm going off script a little bit, but it's important to teach our agents to utilize and leverage all of our tools and technology and become a GA themselves, right? And start thinking, wow, with all of these great products and tools and support and technology, why don't I go out and market this stuff and become a GA and have a few agents under me? So continue with my day-to-day sales, right? My phone calls and my e-blasts and everything else, but then have a few agents out there writing business under me, right? Helping them, and then sitting back and making an override in a decent spread while I'm, watching Sunday football and that person is out selling and they're making a healthy commission. I'm making an override. They're getting all the tools and support they could dream of, and everybody's happy. So we built a complete platform around recruiting as well that is really taking off for us. So there's a lot of different parts to what we focus on and kind of, how we spin our Levinson and Associates model these days.
Well, Bill, since we're on the I Love DI podcast, I want to talk a little bit about disability insurance. And, I think you'll agree very few life VGAs aggressively promote disability insurance. Why are you so passionate about offering DI to your brokers?
Okay, that's a great question. So, in our world, in the life space, it seems like most of the IMOs and MGAs and agents are always focused on, the big ticket items, say the big indexed UL or the big indexed annuity with a $500,000 dump in. So we feel that it's important to teach our agents to be a one-stop shop for your consumer, right? Because yes, if you sell that big fancy IUL and you make a $50,000 commission, that's wonderful. Okay, but there's going to be a time when that same consumer needs let's say a critical illness product or a disability product, okay? Or they should at least be told about how the product works to protect them. So it's a matter of time before, the local disability agent, the Bill Levinson, South Florida DI agent is going to get a hold and get their message out to your consumer, right? And they're going to market and sell a DI product, and they're also going to focus on other products like UL or whole life, whatever the case is, and that same agent could potentially lose that client or have that big IUL replaced or whatever the case is. So that's number one. Number two is especially, white collar professional or even a blue collar worker should at the minimum have a small disability case, because life insurance is great. And yes, if that insured passes on, their family is protected. But the problem is, and what people don't think about, okay, and this is what we train our agents, is what if that same client that has that fancy IUL gets disabled and can't work, right, and can't continue, and how are they going to pay that premium on that fancy IUL? So we have to think and teach our agents that disability comes first, right, as a living benefit. Then you fund that IUL or that whole life policy or whatever the case is. So we really go out and try to push living benefits, and DI falls exactly under that umbrella. So that's kind of the name of the game for us and what makes us unique.
Oh, I love it that you're so passionate about it. So going a little bit deeper, why do you suppose so few life IMOs, MGAs are involved with disability insurance?
So I think again it's one of those things that it just seems that everybody is focusing on that big, $50,000 commission and the $10 million IUL, and there's some agencies and agents, unfortunately, that don't want to bring up or don't want to get their hands around the typical DI or critical illness policies. They think it's either, too scary because they don't understand it inside and out, and they don't want to bring it up, and they focus on those big ticket items. When the way we look at it is if you focus on the smaller stuff, on the important living benefit type policies that pay while you're alive, then the big ticket item will eventually come. And the other thing is what a lot of agencies and agents don't realize, some of these white collar DI cases are big ticket items and pay very healthy renewal streams. And so usually when we talk to agents about it, at first they don't even want to hear about it. And then when we give some examples, and we even have some carriers that give a discount if the agent writes themselves a DI policy, as soon as they write the first one, they're off to the races. And then they feel great and comfortable talking about it with their clients. So we try to push this nonstop, and little by little, it's been working. So I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why. It's just like one of those things that they think, oh, it's like another language, and they have enough on their plate, and they don't want to learn the ins and outs, when really you just need to focus on a few products. It's very simple, and ultimately you're helping your clients. So we try to push that constantly.
Well, you see, you mentioned some of the challenges in getting life producers to write disability insurance with you, and I love the challenge that you gave to them, and that is, write it on yourself. My experience is if people don't own disability insurance, they don't sell disability insurance. So if you can get over that hump, you've taken a big first step. Any other big challenges to getting part of those 15,000 producers to write some disability insurance?
Yeah, I just think that the biggest thing for us is explaining it. We have these training webinars where we explain it, and we want to make sure that they understand it, because it's very black and white. As long as they take the time to get their arms wrapped around it, and especially if they purchase a policy for themselves, then we're off to the races. But I would say that's been a little pushback, is getting them to take the time to actually understand it, right? And we do that by incentivizing our agents to jump on our training webinars. We do all kinds of fancy incentive programs, and that's been working well. The other thing is they always think to themselves, DI pays like half of the commission that a life insurance policy pays, so why would we even want to bring that up? Well, the fact is other agents are thinking along those same lines. So that's why most agents are not bringing this up to their consumers. So again, it's a great niche, and it's a great area that's not saturated. So we're constantly just pushing and pushing. But I would say the biggest pushback is, probably commissions, and they don't understand it. That's what we're hearing constantly. And we're overcoming that by some of our new training techniques and online webinars and stuff.
That's great. Well, let's take a step back a little bit more macro. How would you describe the state of the life brokerage industry today?
Okay, so that's interesting. So I've been part of NALBA for years. I'm part of the ASNG group that NALBA built. I've spoken at Accord LIMRA meetings, the annual iPipeline conference, as a guest speaker. And you constantly hear different sides, especially with all of the Department of Labor changes that they were trying to pass this past year and last year. You're hearing good and bad and different. In my opinion, okay, and this is what I'm seeing. When I started just over 20 years ago it was a very old school industry. Okay. It was, it was the industry of a yellow legal pad and rate books and, your word is everything and everything was face to face. And we still agree with that and live by that today, of course. But what I've noticed is most of those more veteran type seasoned IMOs and agencies are not here anymore. And the main reason why is because they never changed with the times. They said, well, the way we do it is best and this is the only way I know. And, and they were very stubborn and they didn't change. And because of that, agencies like us either purchased, let's say a block of business or that particular agency, or the IMO just closed its doors. Now, in my opinion, some of the bigger IMOs that are making the necessary changes, right, to keep their agents relevant, like us, and there's a handful of others, they're the ones that are taking more of the business. So the industry as a whole is definitely shrinking a bit, but I believe the agencies and agents that are accepting the changes and embracing the technology and helping train their downline are going to be very, very successful. I think it's a great place to be. My father's a friend who was a professor at the local college and taught insurance education told me when I first started, Bill, this is going to be the best kept secret and a dream come true, or it's going to be the biggest nightmare you've ever come across. And it's all what you make of it. And thank God it's been the best dream ever. Okay. But the secret is you have to constantly change and innovate because it will pass you by. And these bigger IMOs, okay, like us, we're in the top 10, the ones that are doing the right thing and making necessary changes are taking that business every day. So in a nutshell, to be successful, I think we're all going to have to come up with great platforms to train, the green agent or the agent that's right out of high school or college, right? I think that those are going to be the IMOs that are going to succeed, and we've done exactly that. So I think it's still one of the best industries and careers in the world today, in my opinion. It's been a blessing for us. So we're going to keep moving forward.
Yeah. Well, Bill, how is technology changing the brokerage distribution channel?
I would say number one is probably underwriting, right? So, there's been so many advances with underwriting now. And if you look, just think 10 years ago, typically a fully underwritten term or UL or even DI can take 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of turnaround time. And now with these underwriting advancements and everything done online, we're seeing very competitive, fully underwritten type products that are literally turned around in 2 or 3 days. So underwriting has been huge. That combined with e-applications, drop tickets. Okay, that's been a big plus. And I think what's happening slowly, the life insurance side has been very behind, say, the health insurance side and other industries. And now, with some of these new advancements with underwriting and e-applications, we're not quite there yet, but we're making that turn slowly. And what that's doing is it's attracting, let's say, higher ups and executives from other industries over to the insurance space. So I think, in my opinion, it's the most exciting time to be in the life insurance space, in my opinion. I'm loving it.
Speaking of technology, tell us about your iGenius sales platform.
iGenius in a nutshell, and I'm going to, again, back up a little bit. And, if you think years back, when I first got in the industry, it was basically 3 separate channels. You had your captive space, right? In the captive space, you took a huge haircut on commissions. You made about 30 to 40% commission, but the captive side gave you a full back office. They gave you supposedly leads. They gave you an admin person, a place to go every day. But again, they totally destroyed you on commission. So captive was the most popular channel, and it was great for training agents. And then there was the semi-captive, kind of independent side, right in between, where You're supposed to sell your carrier's products, and if they don't fit perfectly for that client, you're allowed to go outside. You made a little more commission, but the training model wasn't quite as intensive. So that was number 2. And the number 3 was you were 100% independent. You made a higher commission, but there was no training or leads or supports. So that's how it all began. That's how I grew up in the industry. And as we grew at Levinson, I said to myself, gosh, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be great, right? If we can, okay, think about that captive mindset. So getting all the support and the service and the tools and the training that you would need, right? Think about if we can provide all of that, but you remain 100% independent and you get those huge independent commission payouts. How great would it be if we can provide it all? Okay, and yes, that's a win-win grand slam, and the answer is yes, of course it would be great, right? But how can you afford to do this as an IMO? Well, over the years, we started little by little. We would team up with technology vendors, and we would promise a certain amount of production or business for that particular vendor. But with small numbers, it was very challenging to do. So the problem is, yes, we had great commission payouts, great products, great service, but we were lacking with tools and technology. But as the years went on, okay, now almost 15,000 agents and our production is through the roof, okay, we were able to take out a bigger portion of our overrides and put dollars back into supporting our agents with tools and technology and a sales platform. So, fast forward to today, and we have a dream come true. And the dream come true, in my opinion, is to provide those high payouts and a service and support and technology model that an agent would get on the captive side, right? But still remain 100% independent. That's how we came up with iGenius. So iGenius, in my opinion, is the ultimate sales platform for an agent. We cover everything from A to Z, including a free website, CRM tool, lead programs, proprietary E&O policies. We have an exclusive scholarship program. So we give this turnkey iGenius platform to every single agent at no charge as soon as they're active with Levinson and Associates. And you scratch your head and you say, well, how can they afford to give this out for free? The commissions must be cut in half, and that's not true. Okay, and the way we can provide this is think about a Costco type of approach, right? The way that when you go buy something at Costco, you're buying in bulk, and Costco is selling so much of it that they can afford to give out these huge discounts. Same thing with iGenius. So our premium now is through the roof because of all of our agents and our field force. So we're taking a bigger part of our override, putting it back into a sales platform, which allows us to still make a little bit, but on a lot of business and provide lots of value to our agents by providing this iGenius sales platform, which is only getting bigger and better every day. So that's it. A little long-winded, but that's it in a nutshell. That's iGenius.
Bill, one of the things you talk about is the concept of sell while you sleep. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So just if you think back again, and we're doing a lot of thinking back today, sell while you sleep. Okay. It's in a nutshell, think about an Amazon shopping cart. Okay. Amazon now makes up just about 50% of all retail sales. That is an astronomical number, in my opinion. Okay. And it's only going to get bigger. Okay. Now, what does that tell all of us? That tells us as a successful agent or agency, you better be online, right? You have to be online. We provide all of the tools and technology to make sure that our agents are relevant in this space, and they are online with a great website, CRM tool, e-blast tool, everything that they need. So Sell While You Sleep kind of fits into that. And what it is we've created a shopping cart experience for consumers. Okay, so we have the only platform that we can market to our agents, and our agents simply activate Sell While You Sleep, and then they have a custom buttons and shopping cart on their website to where a consumer can go on the agent's website and they can purchase various insurance products. And the neat thing is, it's all client driven. So what does that mean? That means that the agent is successful in driving traffic to their website, that the consumers are going to hopefully run a quote and then sign up online, get an instant approval, and then print a policy or have the policy mailed to them within a few days. So that's Sell While You Sleep in a nutshell. We feel that it's so important to make sure that our agents are up to date with technology and that they're thinking, the new brick and mortar, storefront, that is their website, and it has to be working great. It has to be interactive. It has to have built-in lead capture and various Sell While You Sleep products all built in. So we created this. We started about 6-7 years ago. Fast forward to today, we have a handful of products that are now ready to be sold via an agent's website. We built all the tools. The $1 million question is, this sounds great. How do I drive traffic to my website for the agents, right? So we built a bunch of neat technology and tools that do exactly that. So very, very exciting for us. This is just the beginning. We're putting a lot of resources and dollars into this platform. It's only getting bigger and better.
Now, along with that, you have something called a free scholarship program. How does that work?
In a nutshell, a 1,000-foot overview, the scholarship program, okay, and we have the first exclusive platform that is combined with insurance products, including disability, and it allows the agents to go out and, let's say they're setting up a seminar, a webinar, an in-person meeting, whatever the case is. Once the agent's enrolled in our program, okay, under Levinson, obviously, it's a free program for the agent, for the consumer. Once they're enrolled, this allows the agent to give out $500 or 500 credits and scholarship gift cards, okay, just for a consumer meeting with the agents. So let's say they're having a seminar. The old school way was to, bring in 50 consumers and give them free buffet lunch and basically get the consumer to listen to the agent speak about retirement or living benefits with DI or whatever the case is. Now, okay, the new school approach with this program is, yes, you can bring in the free lunch or invite them to a webinar and give everyone that attends this $500 gift card. It's actually a scholarship credit, and it looks just like a certificate you can print off or have them custom made, and you can give this out to everyone that listens to you speak. And as long as you bring up scholarship planning or funding, the client is eligible for that free gift card. So it's a great hook for agents to bring attendance up to their online webinars or seminars. Now, once the consumer says, you know what, this is great, I want to buy one of the eligible products that falls into the scholarship program, and we now have about 10 carriers. We have over 100 products that qualify. Now what happens, that same consumer gets up to 1 year of a scholarship for their grandchildren, children, relatives, unborn child. As long as it's a blood relative, they qualify. We have over 400 colleges in the program today that the scholarship is eligible at. We have a full website with marketing material, all of the college information. The bottom line is, what this is doing, okay, is giving a typical insurance agent out there another hat to wear, another angle, okay, that helps them become eligible to talk about college planning or funding. It gets your foot in the door, and it helps you discuss maybe critical illness or disability or universal life, how that's combined with the scholarship program to help pay for a child or grandchildren education. So very, very neat stuff, and it brings a whole new dimension to insurance marketing for a life insurance or insurance agent in general.
Well, Bill, you talked about marketing, and obviously you and Levinson do a great job in marketing. Where did Bill Levinson get the marketing bug?
Right. I think first of all, I'm by nature, I'm a very competitive, passionate, enthusiastic person, just about life in general. I always like to be at the top. I actually race cars as a hobby, and I always like to be at least, number one, two, or three. And, what happened is, and growing up, I never was into insurance, right? I was always into, racing motorcycles and cars and working out, and insurance just wasn't the cool thing to do. And, my father brought me up in the industry. In fact, he used to, wrap, when I would go to a friend's birthday, when I was a kid, he would wrap their birthday gift in life insurance applications. And I would say, Dad, why would you do that? And he said to me, Bill, when you're at the let's say the child's birthday, when everyone is opening gifts and they get to yours and they see a life insurance application, everyone's going to say, what is this? Okay. And it sparks the conversation for life insurance. So I was brought up with this life insurance spoon in my mouth. So I was always curious, but I didn't want to dive in because again, it wasn't the cool thing. I always pictured an insurance agent as a guy with a short sleeve dress shirt and a short tie that reaches halfway through his chest, and I just never wanted to get involved. And then what happened is when I was 20, okay, got a little taste of it, started working with Kerry, my father, and I realized, you know what? This is something that not only helps other people, but you can be very creative in marketing this, and at the same time, you can make a great living. So little by little, okay, we started getting the message out, trying different things. And I noticed, at that time we had a few hundred agents mainly in South Florida. And I said to myself, if this is working in South Florida, why can't we do this in the whole state of Florida? And we did. And I said, well, if this is working in Florida now, why can't we take this on a national level, right? Why can't we have agents in California, Texas, all over the U.S.? And little by little, we did exactly that. So being competitive by nature and creative and getting the message out there and building this agent base, from 200 to 500 to 3,000 to 10,000 to now almost 15,000. Now, fast forward to today, there is nothing better. It's the ultimate adrenaline rush. You're helping agents, helping consumers at the same time, making a great living. And in my opinion, there is nothing better. It's the best kept secret, just like my father's friend said when I first got in the industry 20 years ago. So in a nutshell, it's the best kept secret, and I love every minute of what we do. So that's why my foot's on the gas. Little things like we saw the e-app coming. I remember sitting on panels, 10 years ago. We were talking about how e-apps and drop tickets would be so cool and how it would change our industry. And carriers were looking at me like I had two heads. And fast forward to today, agents come on board and they call us and they say, Bill, I only want to get contracted with the carriers that have an e-app. I don't even care what they're rated. Okay, so look how things changed. Look at some of those ideas that I had when I was growing up, right, in the industry, and look at where they are today. That, to me, is the ultimate adrenaline rush. And we have more things that we're talking about today that I think are going to be exactly like that e-app and drop ticket experience. So this is just the beginning for us here.
Well, what does the future look like for Levinson and Associates?
Okay, so today, in fact, we just expanded our office. We finished last weekend. We have 3 new stations here, and we are going to build a senior division. Okay, so if you think back into the podcast, I was talking about how it's important for agents, okay, even estate planning agents that work with CPAs and attorneys, how it's so important that they should also be offering disability and critical illness and living benefits, not just that big fancy IUL case with the big commission attached. Same thing goes for us. So, yes, we have agents that call us, they love us, they depend on us, they use all of our tools. And what's happening is they're getting clients or they have contracts outside of Levinson for health insurance products. And we said to ourselves, well, they already have the relationship with us. They love us. We love them. So why not be more of a one-stop shop and build out the senior division. So we're doing that exactly as we speak. We have a new life settlement department that we are starting as we speak. Everything is done online. It's the first life insurance settlement quote engine with built-in offers instantly that we're creating right now. We're building out the Sell While You Sleep platform. So, Chris, this is just the beginning for us. Just like everyone looked at me like I had three heads when I brought up e-apps and drop tickets, we're going to do the same exact thing with technology, Sell While You Sleep, everything else that we have in the works right now. It's only going to get bigger. We're going to talk 10 years and 20 years from now, and we're going to say, remember that podcast that we had back in July of 18? Well, look at where these platforms are today.
I don't want you to go deep into your crystal ball, Bill. What do you think the life insurance brokerage industry is going to look like in 5 years?
So in my opinion, this is a kind of a double-sided question because there's different ways to look at it. Okay. I think what's going to happen is the IMO that creates more of a training platform, uses better technology to process and sell online, that's going to be the agencies that are going to excel in this new world. Okay. I know I spoke about it earlier, but for the agencies that say, oh, we know what works and we're not going to incorporate, this new type of selling strategy or technology, those are going to be the agencies that go by the wayside. Okay. I think that it's so important to build out new training technology platforms. Okay. You have those green agents that are brand new. And the agency that creates a home for them and training for them and platforms, those are going to be the agencies that excel and go to the next level. Okay, it's all about embracing and accepting the change and utilizing what's available today. We have this new target marketing concept and platform that if you just think about for a second, I'm gonna go off script again. But, if you've been online recently, and I'm sure all of you have, right, especially if you're listening to a podcast, and you, let's say you went on a website, you built a Ford Explorer, and you said, okay, I want to build a black Ford Explorer with white leather interior, and the price is $22,000, and you have your options and whatever the case is. If you notice now, all of a sudden, that's a Wednesday that you built the Explorer on the Ford website. Now Thursday comes, right? And you're in a chat room or you're checking a basketball score on ESPN and you notice that same Ford Explorer that you built is in the bottom right corner. And you scratch your head and say, wait a minute, how did they know that the day before I was on the Ford website and I built the same car? This is so weird. Maybe this is meant to be, okay? And then hopefully you as the consumer go buy the Ford Explorer. But let's say you don't and you just X out of that little ad that pops up and a couple days later you're on Google doing a search and again you see that same Ford Explorer in the bottom left corner now. That is target marketing at its finest. So in the past that was only done by these big corporations because it's so expensive, right, to be able to afford the programming and the technology behind it. And now I'm sure you're scratching your head saying, oh yeah, remember, I was looking at a office chair or, whatever the case is. And now every forum or chat room or search engine that I'm on, that office chair is following me around until I buy it. That's how it was designed to work. Well, guess what? We just designed that same platform, but for insurance agents to do, for consumers that go online and search insurance products or articles. So we are just launching this right now to our field force. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, that's an industry first, okay? The IMOs and agencies that are constantly evolving and innovating and looking ahead to see what's next, those are going to be the agencies, and IMOs that succeed in this new world. And that's exactly what we're doing here at Levinson. So the answer is constantly have your eyes and ears open and look to other industries to see what's coming next. That's going to be the ones that are successful. Okay, Chris, I know I'm ranting here a little bit.
No, I love it. And Bill, you've been very gracious with your time. I love, sharing about your iGenius sales platform, the concept of sell while you're asleep, the free scholarship program, and then lastly, this retargeting program that you've developed. So if somebody has some questions on, any of those programs or maybe just some of the philosophies that you shared today, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Okay, so whatever works best for you is fine. We have an 800 number, obviously, so 800-375-2279, or my email, bill@kerrylevinson.com. Of course, we have all of our social media pages. If you just look up either Bill or Billy Levinson or Levinson and Associates, you'll be sure to find us. And yes, we're big, and yes, we're doing a great job, and we're growing every day, okay? But I'll never forget where we came from. So if you want to even personally have a conversation, please feel free to reach out anytime, and I would be more than happy to share, or even maybe I can learn something from you. So I'm always looking to see what's next or how we can learn and innovate. So with that said, I really appreciate also, Chris, what you've brought to the table and what you're doing for agents as well. So great stuff. And I appreciate you inviting us and taking the time as well.
Yeah, Bill, thanks for your time. You did a great job. I appreciate it.